up and welcome back to Interpreting the Scares. That's right, we're heading right back into that world of the spooky with the 6th film in the Hellraiser series, and this one is called Hellraiser Hellseeker. In Hellseeker, a shady businessman attempts to piece together the details of a car crash that killed his wife, rendered him an amnesiac, and left him in possession of a sinister puzzle box that summons monsters from a hellish dimension. Like the last movie, Hellseeker is based on a script that initially had nothing to do with Hellraiser, and instead of writing their own script, they used an old abandoned script that was in its own kind of limbo. They added some Cenobites and called it a day. And comparing this one to the previous film, I can kind of see what they were getting at here. There's a specific theme surrounding death, a lot of mystery and trippiness, and specifically a main character that honestly isn't that likable. So if you're forced to look at this movie as if it was in some shape or another connected to the last one, then you can probably guess what's going on here. That this dude is probably either dead himself or stuck in a Hellraiser dimension being tortured by Cenobites, or both. And you wouldn't be far off. This movie doesn't really add that much to what we saw in the last movie. It's very similar actually, just not as profound. And just from a technical perspective, it's also kind of sloppily edited together. While trying to be trippy or mind-melty, the film mixes together its own continuity, which blends with hallucinations, which blends with flashbacks of the past, which are also blending with hallucinations, and whatever the message being told to the audience is, it's clearly not clever, clear, or concise in any stretch of the imagination. Now, it is interesting that they included Kirsty in the story once again, after not having seen her in a long time, but her inclusion was also more of a gimmick than anything else, and you can kind of tell that her role was not written for her character's return. Instead, they wrote around it, and it's obvious. And Pinhead again, barely in the movie. And his existence isn't as profound as it was in the last movie, nor is it as gory as it has been in its origins. It's kind of hard to place his role in this movie other than, again, a gimmick. Just, existing in it to exist in it and call the movie Hellraiser. All in all, this movie didn't really impress me. Instead, it kind of disappointed me. The mystery in the movie is fine, but I'd actually say the original script, before they turned it into Hellraiser, probably would have made a better film. I think once they added the Cenobite angle into the film, that actually made it so much more convoluted, unnecessarily so. Now, I don't know where the series is going to go from here on out. In one aspect, I am interested to see what they can do with it, but from another aspect altogether, I'm also worried that they've run out of ideas and it'll just be more of this, and worse. We'll find out soon, I guess. Let's go ahead and break down my final score. From a technical, unbiased, and biased perspective, Hellseeker is just disappointing. There's a lack of practical effects for what I'm assuming to be a higher preference for CGI stuff, all of which looks stupid. The writing is absolutely all over the place, which does not help the editing either. I feel like somewhere, deep down, there's a clever mystery, which would have been interesting to see unfold without the Hellraiser name. So it's not all bad, but it's certainly lost a lot of the flavor that I like to see from this series. So actually, both my unbiased and biased score agree with one another, and that's 62%, meaning that at the very end of the day, when you combine the two scores together, you obviously come down to that final score of 62%. 62 out of 100 possible stars, or a C letter grade. Guys, have you seen Hellraiser Hellseeker, or at this point, had you dipped out of the series? If you stuck around up to this point though, what were some of your thoughts on this 6th movie? As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the number